Hey there, welcome back. In this lecture, let us dive deep with strings. Strings are basically characters altogether. That means they are series of characters either to form a sentence or word. Till now we have been using numbers. But what if we need to take name? What if we need to take address? That's where string come into picture. Now there are three ways by which we can create string. Let's understand them with example. So let's say I'm going to take first name. Now remember, I'm utilizing camel case. So this is small and then this is capital case. And I'm going to use single quotation mark and I'm going to call this as Shubham. Then let me take the second one, which is last name. And this time I'm using double quotation mark. Now here in both of these example, everything is going to remain same. There is no difference. You can use single quotation or double quotation. Everything is going to remain same. Then there is third one. And I'm going to call this as long para. Now this third one requires backtick. Remember, this is not quote, these are backticks. You can get the symbol with backtick key, which will be under your escape key on top left corner. So here I can just pass anything. Let me say long form content. Great. Now these three are string. If you just hover over them, you will see string, string, string. That's great. So that means if I print them, they are going to be same. Then why we have these three methods? Well, this is a whole long story. And we have a dedicated lecture. It's important. This backtick is the most important one. When we are going to build website, when we are going to work with any type of application, this is important and we have a dedicated lecture. So for now, I'm going to skip this one. Remember, these are known as template literals. So we have a lecture and we will be discussing about them. Now what about these two? Well, they are same. 100% same. Just one difference. Yes, there is just one difference. Let's say I want some sentence. And here if I pass, let's say I'm using double quotation and let's say it's my job. Everything is working fine. Let me try to do console log. And here let me pass random. If I save this one, you can see this text. Everything is fine. Remember, here we start our string, here we end it. Here we start our string, here we end it. Everything is great. But if you see, we are using single quotation in our string. Because it's required, it's my job, the sentence require it. What if instead of this double quote, I use single one? Well, here is the problem. Now, our JavaScript assume that this is the string. Because it start here and it's end here. If I save this one, you can see I got an error, unexpected identifier. Why? Because JavaScript understand, okay, we start a string here, we end here. For JavaScript, this is the string part. And that's the problem. Why? Because for us as a human, we know this is the complete sentence. So whenever you feel this is the case, then try to avoid single quotation and use double quote. In rest of the case, everything is going to remain same. There is no difference. Now what you should use? Well, I personally prefer double quote, but there are thousands of developers that prefer single quote. It totally depends on your preference. That's great. That's done. I hope you understand how we are going to create string. Okay, let me remove both of them now and discuss more about string. So there are four important topics that we need to cover. The first one is going to be concatenation. The second one is about how to access characters of string. The third one is going to be about properties of string. And then fourth one will be string methods. Okay, great. Let's move forward. The first one is concatenation. Well, it simply means to add or to join. Suppose if I say concatenate these two variables, that means I'm going to add these two string. Let's do that. Let's create a new variable and call it as full name. And here if I need to concatenate both of them, I can utilize plus symbol. So I can use first name plus last name. Great. So for JavaScript, these two are together now. If I want to do that, let's try to use console.log, and here I'm going to pass full name. Save, and here you can see now these two are together. That's the first way we can use plus symbol. But before that, let me change this to double quote itself, otherwise it's look odd while writing. Oh great, everything is still the same. There are other ways as well. Let's say I can directly use console.log, and instead of creating a new variable, I can just pass these two together. So let's say first name plus last name. If I save this one, you can see the result is still same. Now what happened here is I created these two, saved this in full name, and then I'm trying to print the full name. I'm trying to pass the full name. Behind the scene, full name is equals to these two only. So behind the scene, this is replaced by these two itself, here itself. Okay, so we are indirectly passing this only for our full name. And we are doing the same here. So result for both of them is same. That's one way. The other way is to use comma. So here if I'm directly passing the value, I can use comma. So instead of this plus, I can use comma. Okay, and if I save this one, you can see this is working fine. Remember, when you use comma, you will get a space between them. And this is going to work fine. We have our first variable, comma, we have our second variable. Now suppose I create a third one. Let's say third one is full name itself. So what I can do is comma, I can use full name, save, and here you can see the first variable, the second variable, and then the third variable. Okay, this looks great. Let me undo this, save, everything is working fine. Now what if I want to add a space here with my first one? So let me comment this one, control slash, this is gone now. What if I want to add a space between them? Well, I can create a new variable. Let me call this as let space equals to, and define this as space. Remember, this is a string which holds the character of space, and I can say space plus. If I save this one, you can see my first variable, my second variable, then this is the space second variable, and then this is the third variable. It's working fine. But instead of creating a new variable for this, I can just remove this and I can pass the space directly. Here you can see first variable, add to an empty space, and then the third variable. If I save this one, you can see it's working fine. So that's how this whole concatenation thing works. We have a comma and we have a plus symbol. We can directly use variable or we can directly pass the string. So if I comment both of them right now, and instead of this first name, I can just pass a string. Let's say Shubham, and instead of this last name, I can pass a string. Let's say Sharda. If I save this one, you can see the result is still same. This is my first one, this is my second one, and this is my third one. That's it. We are going to play a lot more with concatenation, but I hope you got the basic idea. We are going to use plus or we are going to use a comma. Now let's jump on to the second topic, which is accessing characters. Okay, so let me undo these. So we have a proper examples, okay? Great, at this point of time we have these two variables. What if I want to access the first character of this string? Well, we can do that. We just want to refer to our index position. In JavaScript, our index position starts from 0. Let me discuss with this example. Let me clear this up and talk about accessing characters. So suppose I want to access this first character, or maybe I want to access the last character of this string. How I am going to do that? Well, with JavaScript, we follow index position and we can access them. For example, if I want to print the first character of this variable, I can do that. Let's say console.log, and in between I just need to pass my variable that I want to access, and then I need to use this square brackets, open and close here, and then I need to pass the position. Well, JavaScript is a zero index position language. That means this is going to be 0 The second one is going to be 1 and keep on following. That means if I need to access the first element, first character, it's going to be 0. If I save this one, you can see S. Remember, JavaScript is 0 index position language. That means this is going to be 0, this is going to be 1, this is going to be 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. That's how it is going to work. If I say let's print the first one, it is going to be 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. That's how it is going to work. This is important for someone who is new to programming because it will be confusing as a beginner, but as you grow, you will understand them. Now, if I want to access the third character, it is going to be second position. Why? The first character, the second character, the third character. That means 0, 1, 2. Okay, if I save this one, you can see U. That's how it is going to work. Now, accessing is important. If I want to access about the last name, let's say last name, and if I want to access this A, it will be first index position. Remember, this is index position. So 0 and 1. And if I save this one, you can see I'm able to access A. And that's how it is going to work. So if I talk about the syntax, it's simple. We just need to pass the variable and then I need to use square open and close. In between that, I'm going to utilize simple, the position, index position. Okay, great. Now let's talk about the other topic, which is going to be properties. Well, each string, each variable that we are currently holding contains some property. Now we have stored this inside our variable. We have some properties and these properties can be utilized at different level. For example, I want length of this. What I can do is I can create a new variable, let's say first name, and I can use, I've created a new variable, and if I want length of this, what I can do is I can use this variable dot length, length. Yes, that's it, dot length. And this is going to give me the length of my first variable. And this is going to give me the length of first name. If I try to print this one, console log, and let's say first name length. Save this one, you can see 7. And that's right. Remember, this is length. Length is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's it. But index position is different. Length is different. If I try to get the length of maybe last name, so instead of doing this, creating a new variable, what I can do is I can just say last name dot length. If I save this one, you can see 5. And this is important for you to understand that you just need to use dot and then the property that you are accessing. That's it. Now, the next topic is about methods. So at this point of time, we are just using them directly. So we stored them, we are using them. Stored them, we are using them. But there are a lot of things that we can do, and some important things like when you visit certain property website, when you visit certain maybe government website, they want everything to be in capital letter. They want everything to be smaller case sometimes or any other form. At that point of time, we use method. Remember, when we use properties, properties are just going to give us some information about our variable. So if I say length, it is going to just give me the information. That's it. But when I say method, that means I have control. I can perform something. So if I want to convert this into capital letter, I can do that. Let's say, let's create a new one and call this as random. This is a new variable. And if I want to use this first name and change to capital, what I can do is I can use 2 uppercase. And then open and closing parentheses. Remember, we are using method, then we need to apply this. And if I try to print random now, save this one, you can see everything is capital. And this is important for you to understand. Properties are just going to give us information, whereas method are going to do something. They are going to take some action. And this is where we are converting it. Now method are basically of 2 types. The first one is which are going to change the variable from base, At this point of time, we are not doing that. If I try to use first name, save, you can see this random is capital, whereas this first name is still the original. It doesn't have any effect. So that means this is non-destructive. That means the original one is as it is, but the return that we got, it's different. So it's non-destructive. What is destructive? Destructive is when we apply a method and it changed the original one itself. That means if I try to print this first name, this is also cap, this is also cap. At that point of time, this is going to be a destructive method. You don't need to understand this right now. When we jump onto some example, you will understand it better. For now, you just need to understand that this is method. Okay, let me try something else. Let me try to use console.log and open and closing parenthesis, and here I am just going to use last name dot to lowercase. Remember, to lowercase, and then open and closing parenthesis, save. You can see this is all caps now and this is all lowercase now. So this turn this is, or if I take another one, you can see this is all lowercase. And this is important and we use it at several instances, even during our project itself. So you can either create a new variable, then print it, or you can directly pass whatever you want. Okay, one last thing. What if I remove these parentheses? Well, you are not going to get your expected result. You will get some type of information instead of action. So remember, when you are trying to apply a method, use parentheses. When you are working with properties, just directly use .length. You don't need parentheses. Okay, that's great. That's all for the lecture. We still have a lot of things to talk about. There are tons of methods that we should discuss, and we'll be doing that in next one. Thank you for following, and I see you guys in the next lecture.